Good afternoon, Scott. Welcome and happy birthday.
Thanks,
And
Dave.
so if you could start off by sharing what are some of the reasons for this form's development, what need did it serve, and who uses it?
Yeah, sure thing. Hi, everyone. So in terms of the impetus for this form's development, those of you in Ontario may know that back in February, the Ontario Human Rights Commission, the Right to Read report, which was grounded in the science of reading, included commitments to revise elementary language and French curriculum. What I want to spend a little bit of time with you folks today on is the second part, which is the part about the right to read for the early intervention. And one of the recommendations from that was that all kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2 students are screened for early identification of reading difficulties. So what I'm going to do, and you see on my screen here, I pulled out one particular student, and we're in the literacy form. So this was something that we started to develop with Clevr back in the springtime. So there is a general information tab. We also have a phonics screener. We have two phonological screeners. The first one here, the PASS, P-A-S-S, that's a phonological awareness skills screener. And we consider that to be a tier 1 or a screening tool for all. And again, in reference to kindergarten to grade 2 students. We also have the PAST with a T, and that's a phonological awareness screening test. And that would be one that we would use for tier 2 students. We also have a DIBELS assessment, which we're not using yet, but we know that some boards are. So we wanted to include that in case we move in that direction as a board. And we know of some teachers that are using that as well. Empower is a tier 2 or tier 3 program that we use in some of our schools if the school already has a qualified Empower teacher. So we have a spot to put the assessment results for that. And again, as mentioned before, we have some French assessment tools as well, again, based on the Ontario Human Rights Commission. So taking a look at the PASS, we have a fall and spring because again, the recommendation was to be done twice in a year. So we decided on the fall and the spring. And you can see for a particular student at the very top, the different categories that are part of this phonological screener, and then what they're getting correct out of 10 for each of those. So the snapshot, if you will, is at the top. And for the teacher, if I was beside the student, I could actually work through it and click off each of the ones as the student goes that they get correct. Alternatively, if I'm starting with a student, I may start with all 10. So I could hit select all and get all 10. And then as the student is working through with me, if he misses one or gets one incorrect, then I could just simply click those off. Either way, I'll get the result from that. From there, when we developed this in the springtime, we were working with the teachers to make sure that it was very teacher focused. So any teacher that goes in can see their entire class. But for people that have more of a system role or a school view role instead of a classroom-based role, we're working with Clevr right now to make sure that we can see for an entire grade what that looks like, and not just for a particular student or for a particular class. And in addition to that, though, a few other things that I'd like to mention in terms of what makes this unique. And by unique, I'm not referring to the PASS itself or the PAST or any of these different screeners. In fact, to me, what makes this unique is that any different assessment tools or screening tools can be placed into the this literacy form, and other things could be removed as well. So assessments may come and go, but the form itself, the structure of the scaffolding will remain. And in terms of what value it's brought to our organization, we're really making a big shift in terms of the way of thinking of how we collect and how we keep our assessment and screening records. Before it was very exclusive, meaning it's my class, it's Mr. Nichol's class, these are my students, these are my records. And at the end of the year, I may or may not, depending on the busyness or how organized I am, pass on that information to future teachers. Whereas now, using this literacy form, we move to a more inclusive model when we talk about our teachers instead of my students, or sorry, our students instead of my students. So it's a shift in thinking, and this tool is a great mechanism for that. Dave, I just wanted to check here. So I think I've covered everything here. Again, these different screeners are ones that are used all across Ontario. We just have it housed in Clevr. Is there anything I'm missing?
No, Scott, I think you did a great job giving an overview of the literacy data form and the opportunities that are available to add different screeners. And if a district had their own screener, we could design one and put it in there for them as well. But it's great because it's grounded in the science of reading. You have a number of different phonics and phonemic awareness and early reading screeners in there. And so it's a good basis and a great ability to share with other districts some of the great things happening in Canada.
Thanks, David. And again, I know I've said this often to you, Dave, but again, I really want to commend Dave and his team. They've been very responsive to the different needs, requests, and suggestions that we've been giving. Once a form comes in this case, the literacy data form, there's been a number of different requests or tweaks, if you will, just to customize it. And they've been incredibly helpful and great people to work with. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you very much, Scott. I really appreciate that.